Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the big grand AAA titles, your God of Wars, your Tears of the Kingdoms, etc., etc. But not every game can be great. Some games are just destined for mediocrity, where the biggest compliment you can give it is, it's alright. But you know what? I love a good subpar game, because around here, jank is just another word for charm. So with that said, here are 6 mediocre games that I enjoyed. I don't know if this was the Star Fox game we deserved in 2016 when it released, but it is the one that we got. Now, Star Fox Zero was essentially a reimagining of Star Fox 64, but not everybody cared for it. Reviews pointed out that it suffered from a lack of originality due to it being so close to the 64 version. Some thought it looked like a game that should have came out in 2002 rather than 2016. And the most divisive part of the game by far were the controls, which required you to look at that fat brick of a gamepad and your TV screen at the same time to be able to look and pilot and shoot. And the controls, they had a lot going on. It was really wacky. And that first hour or so I was playing, I was in some pain. But once I settled in and got past the controls, dare I say, I thought this was pretty good. I had a pretty good time with this one. I thought it had nice variety, you know, being able to fly around in the air wing, you know, got the Landmaster blowing stuff up. Even the little chicken leg machine that runs around, really funny looking. Even that was cool. It just looked weird while I ran. But the boss fights, in my opinion, those were generally fun. Sans Andros, but that's Andros. And yeah, it's true. The game does feel, you know, maybe a little too close to Star Fox 64 in terms of stage design and maybe gameplay. But the familiarity for me was comforting, not a deterrent. And I'll never try to sell you that this is the best Star Fox game ever, but I'll also say it's not that bad. I don't think this is as bad as the critics said it was. I had a pretty good time with this. Now, sadly, we have not seen much of Fox in the game since Star Fox Zero, but you can catch them in Starlink Battle for Atlas, which technically isn't a Star Fox game, but it's as close as you're going to get, at least as of late. So check that out if you haven't. But Star Fox Zero, some said it was mediocre, but for me, I had a good time with this one. Now, if you want to talk about mediocre, it doesn't get much more mid than we use Devil's Third. I've done a full review of this game on the channel that I'll link below. But basically, you play as a convict named Ivan who has to work for the government so he can take down a terrorist organization to keep the world from plunging into chaos. But I'll be honest, the story in this game, the characters, the voice acting, and honestly, the combat could have been a lot more in-depth, and those little these creature things, I don't know what these were, but these were atrocities. And this game was janky. It wasn't the smoothest, but with all of that said, this is some of the best mindless fun that you can have. This is just the perfect game to play when you need to just shut your brain off. There's so many different weapons to use in terms of combat, man. You got swords, you got hammers, you got pipes, you got machetes, and a bunch of other weapons that you can use to hack and cut off limbs. You got guns too. Now, I'll be honest, that the shooting in this game, it isn't that great, but you can shoot people's heads off, so I'll take the trade-off. Yeah, like it doesn't feel smooth. This game doesn't do any one thing really well, but it's just good mindless fun on top of like a C-list Netflix movie storyline. That's pretty much what this game is. It doesn't do any one thing great, but it's just good enough across all areas to be entertaining. And make sure you keep watching the list, because there's another game I'm going to mention that basically improved on everything I wanted Devil's Third to do and still ended up being mediocre. But we'll get to that later. But Devil's Third, I like this game, and I am not ashamed to say this game, for me, is pretty fun. The Order 1886 still holds up as a technical marvel on the PS4, but its frequent use of QTEs for some made it feel more like an interactive movie rather than a video game, and it also didn't help that the runtime was barely 4 hours, which kind of left the story to stop right before it really started to catch its legs. And while I can say that the Order 1886 fell short of being a great game, I still think it's a solid one that you should check out if you get the chance. For one, the setting of this game, this whole steampunk Victorian era London, I think it looks fire. The sci-fi influence you get with some of these guns, especially the thermite gun, I thought was pretty creative, and it's just a kind of weapon I don't really see in other games. And the actual gameplay of the Order I thought was pretty solid. The cover-based shooting is good. It gets the job done. They've got the slow-mo bullet time move you can pull off. They have some really dope takedown animations in this game. The sound design in The Order is immaculate. The shots sound really impactful, especially that shotgun. And as well as fighting people, you get to fight Lycans. That's pretty cool too. And I like the film look that they went for in this game. It's shot in like this, I don't know the exact aspect ratio. I'm not a big film person, but it's shot in a way that it does look more like a film instead of a game. And I think they really nailed what they were going for in terms of that look. And admittedly, the QTEs in this game are a bit of a mixed bag. I didn't mind that they were there, but the timing of some of them and the way they were used did take away from certain moments. But even with those flaws, I appreciated what the devs were going for with this. And man, I wish this could get a sequel, because I think this game had so much potential. But even with the flaws, I still think you should check this out. And I've got a full review of it on the channel, so I'll leave a link to that below. But yeah, shout out to The Order 1886. I think this was better than people gave it credit for. I had a pretty good time with this one, man. The only crime Killer is Dead is guilty of committing is just having too much sauce. It had too much style. And the critics, they didn't know how to handle all of this personality. They didn't understand the story either. And neither did I, if I'm being quite honest. I couldn't tell you a thing about what was going on with the story of this game. But I do know that outside of having a cohesive story, Killer is Dead hit all of the check boxes that I want a game like this to hit. Great hack and slash combat, check. Mechanical arm that shoots stuff, check. Perfect dodge that activates hyperspeed and lets you pull off cool combos, check. Wild and out of control boss fights, check. Gigolo missions, we're gonna check that too. I don't know if it should be a check, but it's there, so we're gonna check it anyway. As somebody who likes games like No More Heroes that are just kind of out there and kind of wacky, Killer is Dead spoke to my soul in a very special way, and I had a blast with this game from start to finish, even though I couldn't explain to you much of what was going on. Shout outs to Mondo. I don't know why he was doing anything he was doing in this game, but I know the game had so much style and flair, and it was so much fun that I didn't care what was happening, because I was too busy enjoying myself. When I saw the Metacritic score of this game, I was appalled at the score that I saw, because I vehemently disagree. This game was great. Sure, the story didn't make sense, but who cares? It's fun. I had a lot of fun with this, man. Shout outs to Killer is Dead. This is one of my favorite PS3 games. And yeah, I would highly encourage anybody, if you like games like No More Heroes, you gotta give this a look. You just gotta give it a look. But shout outs to Killer is Dead. Now this game right here, boy, this was something. For those who don't know, Indigo Prophecy is a narrative-based game, and when I tell you there are so many bad things I can say about this game, the quick time events, out of control, doing way too much. The second half of the story of this game, I can't even explain to you the nonsense I saw. This went from a legit murder mystery to somehow we are Neo in the Matrix, and the writing of some of these characters, so stereotypical. Like, Tyler, bruh, come on, man. What's going on? He's the one black guy in the game, and he just happens to play basketball. He's late to work, and he has the most stereotypical theme song of all time. Like, what are we doing? But with that said, this is one of the most entertaining games I've ever played in my life. It is a train wreck that is impossible to look away from. And the thing is, the first half of this game I thought was actually pretty legit. Like, the first half had me intrigued, but then it just goes completely off the rails. But I wanted to see how much crazier they were going to go, and it did not disappoint. They just kept finding ways to one-up themselves in the nonsense department. And the QTEs did make some of this annoying. The stealth sections made some of this annoying, but boy, I was having a blast watching this nonsense. And by the time I got to the end, I can't explain all of what happened, but I do know I had a great time, and for better or worse, this game is going to stick with me forever. In terms of narrative-based games, this is close to the top of the list for me. Probably not all for the right reasons, but I play games to be entertained, and the Indigo Prophecy went above and beyond the entertainment department. Whether it was quality or not, that is up to you to decide. But for me, had a blast with Indigo Prophecy. now for my newest entry into my favorite mediocre games list, and the game that actually inspired me to make this video. And that game is Wanted Dead. Now, to be transparent, this is the one game on the list that I have not finished, but man, I'm having a blast playing this one. In a weird way, Wanted Dead is everything that I hoped Devil's Third would have been. They share a lot of the same faults. They're both kind of janky. They are not the smoothest to play, and they both have stories that I don't really care for. But the one thing that Wanted Dead has over Devil's Third is the gameplay, because it is a bit more fleshed out. The main character, Hannah, has some dope, solid combos that she can pull off. She's got a skill tree to expand her moveset. Got her out here hacking and slashing, cutting folks up. She's got these dope takedown finishers that she can pull off to add a little more extra sauce to the combat. I like how they mix in the sword play with her gunplay in terms of the combos. But Wanted Dead also has these wacky mini games, which I could honestly do without. But in a weird way, I'm also glad that they're there. They just add this extra layer of jank just to give it a little bit of personality. So even though they're kind of annoying in a weird way, I'm happy they're there. And I don't know, man. Wanted Dead is just, it is grade A, C level fun. It's some of the best mediocrity that you can engage in. And it's also kind of hard, not gonna lie. This game's pretty brutal. So if you decide to play it, know that you're gonna get kicked in the teeth. This game's kind of hard. But yeah, in terms of C-list hack and slash games, this is there's some solid mediocrity right here that I can get behind. So shout outs to Wanted Dead. This is my new favorite mediocre game, and I might have to spend a block and do a review on this when I finish it. But yeah, Wanted Dead, having a lot of fun with this one. Well, those are some of my favorite mediocre games. Let me know what some of your favorite mediocre games are in the comments below. But that is all I got for this video. My name is Serial Sensei. Y'all stay safe, y'all stay hydrated, and I will catch y'all on the next video.